All right, let's dig into the book haul for, I guess, early March. I did this like 2 weeks ago with the book haul, but and I kind of said, I'm not going to buy more books. And well, here we are again. So, first one I'm going to mention, I've read this before. This is How to Read a Book by Mortimer J. Adler, and this is the 1972 version. That also includes Charles Van Doren. This was originally written in the 40s. So that's probably the one knock I would have against this is that all authors are he, and there's no she at all, or ambiguous pronouns. Not ambiguous, like it's all dudes that wrote, in theory, as he writes this. But this is great for just teaching how to read a book better. So I bought it actually for another video, and because I kept thinking about buying it and going back through it, because it's been probably, I'm 40, it was about 34, 35 when I read this, the only time. And I want to go back through it because when I read it the first time, it felt like all of the reading I had done before this didn't count anymore. I think this time when I read it, it'll probably be more like a reference. Like I'll flip to the chapters that are pertinent to what I want to do. And I think, again, I haven't read it. I just got it. But I believe there's like an intro. The first third is like the crucial part. So I'll probably read at least through the first third and just refresh my mind on what it means to read a book. Next up, I've been waiting for this one actually, is Under Wildwood by Colin Malloy and illustrated by Carson Ellis. So I've read Wildwood already, which is another one in here, and the illustrations, I'm going to try and find one. Just pick this up today. It was a good book. I actually found it at like the local coffee shop, and the local coffee shop had a copy of Wildwood, fairly beat up copy, and I know the owner, so I said, hey, can I just borrow this? So here's one of the illustrations in it. I actually like the illustrations of the other one better now that I've looked at this, because the illustrations in the other one were like on harder glossy paper. Not that these are bad, but they're good. So I borrowed the Wildwood from them, and then I immediately loved it. I bought a hard copy for myself, and I read it to my daughter. So we're going to go through Under Wildwood at some point, although we have North of Beaten coming next Tuesday instead. So we'll probably do that one first, and then we'll come back to this, which will be my choice. We're kind of trading, because I got tired of reading Harry Potter for 3 years. So I may read this on my own in the meantime, but this will be one that I definitely work through with my oldest daughter as well. Good book. Good. The first one was a very good book. I don't know about this one yet, but we will see. Next up, Prior of the Orange Tree. I wasn't even planning to buy it, but for $2. This is a huge book. I've already read it on Kindle, and I happened to see it as I walked through the library last Friday. I was like, oh, $2, because they sell hardcovers for $2 that are used, and I grabbed it. My daughter, it's her bookmark because she wanted to start reading it, and I'm like 99% sure that it's fine for her. I just told her to stop if she wanted. So she's leaving it down in my office right now. And I told her that if I wanted to read it, I'm taking her bookmark, or I get dibs on it when I want to read it. It's about dragons. It's about magic. What I remember from reading it probably 2 years ago when it first came out is that I felt a little rushed at the end. It was really good, and the end kind of just wrapped up real quick. That would be my knock against it as far as I remember from 2 years ago, but I am looking forward to this being a reread for sure. I'll just file this one right away. Right there. So the same day that I bought that, without planning to buy books, I also found this. Ray Bradbury, The Martian Chronicles. I've never read any Ray Bradbury. I've heard his name. No, not to my recollection. Maybe I have read or seen a show that was based on his stuff. Not Deep Space Nine. What was the other one? I'll put it right here. There's a TV show that I'm remembering. Anyways, space show. So this is The Martian Chronicles, and ultimately it was just gorgeous. just gorgeous. When I turned around at the bookstore, the Bookman, and thought, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. I just have to buy that. And the staff were like, oh, I just saw that on the shelf when you walked in, and I wanted to get it. And I was like, well, too bad it's mine. So I haven't read any of his stuff, but I will read this and find it if I like it. If I don't, then I don't know. It's just so beautiful. I may keep it anyways. But I may just return it to the Bookman because they will give me credit for it, which is why I keep their little tags in the back. And I'll file this one too because it literally goes right beside me. Oh, there. Next up, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work by John M. Gossman, PhD. This has just been on my list at the Bookman. I read it in, what it would have been? It would have been Play Nice in Your Sandbox at Home. And I have a review coming out at some point on that. It's already recorded, already in the bag, ready to go on YouTube. I just don't know when I'm going to actually publish it. So I've never read this book, but it is going to be into my marriage reading stuff. Just so that I can have a better marriage, because I'd like to stay married. 17 years so far. I guess we'll be celebrating 17 this June. I'd like to keep it that way. So this is one. The actually bad thing is I looked through and somebody highlighted it. Why do you highlight your books, people? So And the bookman said, "Oh, we're not supposed to take anything that's highlighted, but it's only highlighted." So I just flipped through here. Like the beginning chunk is highlighted, all this isn't. So if they like started like this and looked, it's not highlighted. So we'll see. And I kept my tag in the back again to return it to them. Because I said, hey, just like put me down for another copy of this because I'm not sure. I love that. But I want to read it because it's supposed to be good. And John M. Gottman, I've heard Gottman cited lots in marriage circles. So that'll be a good one that I want to dig into for the future so that I have a better marriage. Next up, The Dinosaur Artist. This is another one where I went to the bookstore and thought, oh, I'm not going to buy anything, and then turned around and saw Dinosaur Artist. I actually looked at it first for my middle daughter who is in love with dinosaurs. So this is about a T-Rex skeleton that is taken from Mongolia, did it say? Let me look. I think it's taken from from a country, Mongolia, and then it's sold. And it's trying to be sold at like auction. So it talks about like the implication of, taking this huge, beautiful T-Rex skeleton from another country and then not them seeing no credit for it, no value for it, just getting taken out. So appropriating their artifacts and then again, the high-end collector world, right? Leonardo DiCaprio is named in here as like a private collector of dinosaur fossils. So that will be interesting because it was put up for auction. It was sold. Does it say it was sold? Yeah, well over $1 million. So it takes into like, now we have this skeleton that's, kind of locked away from science now because it's in a private collector and the private collector doesn't want science done on it. So that'll be an interesting one. We'll get to that at some point. I'm trying to read more memoirs, more real life stuff than just, business self-help stuff. So that's be the next one. One of the ones on the list. I've got lots of books on my list right now, to be honest, though. Next up, Free Ride, which is by Robert Levine. It is how digital parasites are destroying the culture, business, and culture. The culture, business, and how it doesn't even make sense. How digital parasites are destroying the culture business, and how the culture business can fight back. It's got to be business culture. That doesn't make any sense. So really, after the beginning of this, I looked at it, and it's supposed to talk about like media's collision with the internet and how the internet and the media streams are at war in many ways. I actually just finished Stephen Levy's In the Plex about Google, and then the library had his Facebook one waiting for me, and I denied because In the Plex was only okay. I'll talk about that more when I talk about my what I read in March. But so Free Ride will get on my list again at some point. I don't have it just looked interesting sitting at the bookstore, and I kept it. And we'll see if I keep it or not. Once I read that, I might return again. I might return that one. I'm not sure if that'll stay in my library or not. Next up is God in Churchill, how the great leader's sense of divine destiny changed his troubled world and offers our hope for ours, by Jonathan Sandys and Wallace Henley. Again, on my quest for reading more about people, about real life stories, about true stuff, biographies, memoirs, stuff like that. This is just one that stood out to me sitting at the bookstore. I actually also have Greatness. I found this at the library a while ago. Greatness, which is again about Reagan, Churchill, and the Making of Extraordinary Leaders by Stephen F. Hayward. So that'll be another one that I read at some point. But God and Churchill will be one that I look at too. Library book sale. Frontiers and Sanctuaries, A Woman's Life in Holland and Canada by Marianne Brandis. So this is Marianne Brandis' memoir of her mother, what she remembers of her mom. It's supposed to be good. It looked interesting about how her experiences in war, 1910 to 84, the lady lived. Her experiences in war and as an immigrant, pioneer, wife, mother, writer, painter, and invalid. So it exemplifies the challenges faced by many women in the 20th century. So this just looked interesting as far as like a memoir goes. Again, it was $2. Like for $2, like I can't say no. At the library. So I just walked in and was like, ooh, that looks interesting. And I thought, how am I going to fit all these books in my bag again? Because I picked up a couple books that I was actually going to take home to read. So that's another hopefully good one. If not, I will donate it or return it. Final book for today is the Short and Tragic Life of Robert Peace, a brilliant young man who left Newark for the Ivy League. So he goes to an Ivy League college. He comes back to teach in his local private school, local private Catholic school, I think. And then he falls back into the drug trade and gets killed, or something like that, right? This is, again, I flipped through it and I was like, oh, that looks like, again, an interesting memoir, interesting real story that I can add to my library and add to my, just knowledge of, again, I'm not a black dude, clearly. So trying to understand more of what people different from me, middle-aged white dudes, have to deal with. Really have to deal with is right. the often horrible things they have to deal with. So that'll be another one. So that was my haul this, I guess, 2 weeks. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books in the last 2 weeks. So I guess I better get reading. I've also got like a stack over there. Still a stack I showed off last time from the library. I actually got Apartment novel from the library today as well, which I didn't include in my haul, but that will be one that I read. Steve Donahue, honestly, I just saw a thumbnail and he was smiling. So I said, hey, I'll see if I can read that. And my library had it on order as a new book. So I got it. I think I'm one of the first people that gets to read it in my local library. So that will be a good one. I have a few others from my local library that I've talked about in previous haul videos. So if you liked the video, you can give me a thumbs up below. If you loved it, then you can subscribe. Never hit the bell because you got better things to do, like be your own work, read your own books, hang out with your kids, then wait for notification. Yeah, I know it's contrary to what everyone says on YouTube, but I think that's the best advice I can give you. Don't hit the bell. Do something else. That's probably more important than just watching my videos. Have a good day.